Hello friends, SentinalH here, and welcome back to our Techguns tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the reaction chamber. This is the most complex multi-block in Techguns. It is high-end progression. It allows you to access the highest tier weapons, all of the energy weapons, the nuclear death ray, the nuclear warheads, all that cool stuff. You need the reaction chamber for that. In order to get the reaction chamber, you're going to require parts that you don't necessarily need to make with the fabricator, but having the fabricator is going to be very useful for getting this and necessary, because it has some things these guns need, so you're going to need them both. This is the high-end stuff. So, to go over the reaction chamber first, we're going to talk about the 3 blocks that make it up, then I'll show you how to build it, and then we'll go ahead and start using it to craft some things. I'm going to show you all the recipes for the reaction chamber. So, the first block, and the most important block, is the reaction chamber housing block, because all the other blocks, the controller and the glass, use this as a crafting component. So in order to make it, turn that off, you need 4 steel plates, 1 elite circuit board, 2 cybernetic parts. These are the things that you either have to farm from cyber demons in the nether or make in the fabricator, a chemical laboratory, and a carbon mechanical part, which, just to refresh you, the carbon mechanical parts are made in the metal press with a carbon plate and a blaze rod. You get 2 of them. Alright? So that gives you 9 reaction chamber housing. Now, you're going to need 9, 7, you're going to need 16 of this to build the thing. But you're also going to need more of it in order to craft the other parts. So you're going to have to make this recipe at least twice. So the reaction chamber controller, you only need 1 of these. It uses 1 housing block, 2 of either blast glass from rotary craft or fused quartz from Ender IO. Okay? And you make that in an alloy smelter with quartz. Okay? So it uses different recipes for glass depending on which mods you have installed. In this particular little mod pack that I've got here, I've got those 2 mods that add the right glass. So once you've added this mod to your mod pack, just come in here and see which types of glass that it'll require. But it at least will use blast glass from rotary craft and fused quartz from Ender IO. Then put a housing in the middle and with 2 elite circuit boards, and you can get your reaction chamber controller. You only need 1 of these. However, you're going to need several of this glass, which takes 3 of the blast glass or the fused quartz and 6 reaction chamber housing to give you 6 glass. Now, you're going to need 18 of this glass, so you have to craft this recipe 3 times. So that means that you need 18 reaction chamber housing, 1 for the controller, which is 19, and then 17 for the actual construction. So you're going to need 36 reaction chamber housing in total. It crafts in lots of 9. So yep, you're going to have to craft this recipe 4 times. 9 times. Wait, did I get that right? For 36? Yep, 4 times. So you're going to need 4 chemical labs, 8 cybernetic parts, 4 elite circuit boards, 4 mechanical parts carbon, and 16 steel plates for that. So yeah, it's quite a bit of an investment. But once you get those blocks, you can go ahead and build it. And it's actually pretty simple to build. So we're going to build one over here. So the first thing that you do is lay down a 3x3 on the bottom of the housing. But you're going to leave 1 block empty in the center of one of the sides. And this is going to determine the front. Okay, this is where you put your controller. Whichever side you put it on, that's going to be the front of the machine. Alright? It really doesn't matter that much. And you'll see why in a moment. Then you're going to put 2 high layer of glass on top of every block. There you go. And then top it all off with a layer of housing. Now, to form the actual machine, all you have to do is with an empty hand, or actually with anything, right-click on the reaction chamber controller, and it pops into being and looks like this. I think it looks really nice. It's very cool. It's all squares, so it goes with the except for those roundish pipes. It really goes with the aesthetic of Minecraft as well, and I think he did a great job. The mod author did a great job. It looks really nice. Now, we're gonna go over. I'll go over the ports on this thing, and then we'll go over there and use that one to craft stuff. If you look at the thing, there are 3 of these little ports around the bottom, and there's another port on top. There's technically 4 ports on the bottom because this front bit here also acts as one of these ports. So you can attach pipes. Now, the rotary craft pipe, for instance, will attach to every single block of this thing, but it'll only input liquids in these ports. You're going to have to import liquids into this machine in order to use it. And you can also, you see there's ports on the bottom here. Oops. I accidentally broke it. I knew I was going to do something to mess it up. You'll notice that on the, if we break all these blocks, you can tell from underneath it which block is which. The center doesn't do anything, but you'll see there's extra ports down at the bottom. So you can attach pipes to the underside of these ports as well. Okay? So you technically have 8 connections around this thing for pipes. And that's a good thing, because you're going to be inputting and outputting liquids from this. If I can figure out how to get the liquids to output, that would be great. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, there's one thing I have to make very clear here. This top port, or maybe any of these ports, do not, under any circumstances, attach a hopper to these ports and throw an item in. It will not only crash your game, but it will corrupt the world. And the world will not load until you go into the world file through like a program like MC Edit and delete the reaction chamber. That's what I had to do, because I did that and I accidentally corrupted the world. So you can fix it if you do it, but please do not do that. You will crash. If you do this on a server, you will crash the server and nobody will like you. So do not try and put a hopper on this machine. This is not a machine that you can automate. This machine must be operated manually. All right, so don't even go near it with a hopper. Dangerous stuff. So I'd be really careful what you try and put into this machine. The only things that these ports are designed for is liquid. So I would highly recommend you never attempt to put anything but liquid through these ports, just in case you might corrupt something. Now the actual purpose of this top port is for power. Where's my, I don't have it in my hand. Let me grab a creative capacitor, and if we attach it to the top, or that could be a wire, or a wire connector from Immersive Engineering, or anything that provides power, that will put power into the machine. Now, if I break that, and then we break a block and replace it and reform a multi-block, well, there's still power in it. Let's break the controller and see what happens. Okay, interesting. So it looks like if there's power in this machine, or maybe even liquids, and you break a block other than the controller and reform the multi-block, it doesn't lose that power. It didn't lose the power, which is pretty cool. Now, you can't attach power to these side ports. It doesn't work. It won't give you any power into the machine. Let's try putting it in that center bottom block, and it doesn't work there either. Does it work on one of these corner blocks? It does not. However, I have discovered that it works if you attach power to the controller. So if we put it on the front, we get power. We can also place it underneath the controller block. You'll have to trust me on that. It does work. So you can input power into this machine through the top port or through the controller, but nowhere else. All right? I highly recommend using the top block just for safety, just to make sure you never accidentally try and put something in there and corrupt your world. So those are the ports for the reaction chamber. Now, I want to try and demonstrate something. I hope it actually works. I'm going to try to do it like this. Now, I've been using rotary craft, reservoirs, and pipes to interface with this machine, but you can, of course, use different ones. So we're going to attach a reservoir there, and then I'm going to go over here and attach a reservoir here. Now, the reason I'm doing that is so I can show you how the fluids work. So if we go in here and we press this button to increase the percentage of the machine that we fill with liquid, this is an important mechanic. it will allow more water into the vessel. Now, if you want to reduce that water or flush it out, you need to lower the percentage. But you'll notice the water doesn't actually leave. Instead, we can push this X button to dump the tank. Now, what I was hoping we'd be able to do here is output the liquid and reclaim it, but doesn't seem like it's actually doing that. It says that you can. Okay, so it has to be the same side that you're inputting the liquid. Ooh, very useful. So that works, actually. So if I put this reservoir here, there we go. Okay, so great, we just learned something. So that's awesome. You're going to want to do that if you don't want to lose the fluid, because this machine does not actually, it doesn't consume a whole lot of fluid. It may consume 1 or 2 buckets per operation, but this machine has multiple working fluids you're going to want to put into it. So you're going to want to be able to flush out the liquid. Now, it doesn't quite flush it all out, so you'll push this dumped button if there's any left over, and it'll flush all of it out. So that's useful. So that's really nice to know. So wherever you attach the pipe for one of your liquids, attach another pipe out the bottom of that port side. And then what you'd probably want to do is run it up and attach it. Why can't I do that? Right to the side of the same reservoir, the same thing. Then you can up the percentage to draw water out of your, and each 10% is 1 bucket. And then we can lower it back down and it'll pump the liquid back in. Very nice. So that's what you're going to want to do for your liquids so that you don't waste them, is make sure that you have that sort of thing set up so you can pump it back out. Great. Now, let's go to the actual reaction chamber that I've set up earlier and use this to craft some stuff. So if we go into this thing and we go to the recipes, you can see there's 4 pages of recipes. This one doesn't work, okay? The UV emitter recipe, it might work, but you can't actually craft the UV emitter. As for the version that I've got right now, this recipe doesn't work. You can't craft it. You can pull it out of creative mode, but you can't craft it, so I'm not going to go over it. But apparently, the mod author intends for you to be able to use the reaction chamber to grow crops really quickly. This is how you craft the laser focus for the laser rifles. This is how you get titanium processed. You can make blaze rods. This anti-grav core, which is useful for extremely high-end stuff. You can make glowstone blocks out of redstone blocks, and you can get enriched uranium. Now you'll notice, in order to get this stuff, you need different combinations of fluids, and some. You need a reagent, and you need this thing here, which is a focus. In order to make any of these recipes, you have to craft the reaction chamber heat ray focus. And if we come over here. Did I actually put the stuff in this one? Actually didn't. I'm such a failure. The recipe for this is 2 redstone lamps, a gold wire, 2 elite circuit boards, and 4 steel plates. Now the good thing about this is that it never gets consumed. It's never used. You keep it. It doesn't get consumed. So you only have to make it once, which is really nice. Now there's a lot of reservoirs I've got around this thing so that I can show you all the different recipes. The most immediately necessary recipe that you're going to want to run is the recipe to process titanium. You need titanium for the highest end of stuff in Techguns, and this is the only way to process it. If I hit R on this titanium ore, this is the only way to get it. Okay, so what you need to do is put your heat ray focus in the slot, and then we need a fluid called creeper acid. So let's go ahead and we put our heat ray focus right here. Now we need something called creeper acid. We're going to put our titanium iron ore here. Now you make creeper acid in the chem lab, and you do it with biomass and gunpowder. And when that runs, it'll craft this yellow crap. That's creeper acid. We need to just let this run so that it'll craft enough to start filling our reaction chamber. Now, how much do we need for this? You have to check the recipes. We need 30%. So we up this to 30%. That's enough. We can stop running this now. So we would up this to 30%. You can see the ore block inside the machine. And we've got 30% fill on the creeper acid. It matches the recipe. Now there's a number right here on a little bar, and it says 5. In order to get this to start, we have to click this button here to get the number up to 5. Now, as soon as we do that, these two progress bars are going to start moving. The bottom bar, the orange one, is the maximum allowed time for the reaction. If it reaches the end before this green bar completes, you lose your item and it doesn't work. So you have to manually operate this. So don't walk away from it because every 3 seconds, the top bar gains a progress tick. And this number may increase or decrease, and you have 3 seconds to click these buttons to get the number to match its new setting so that you get more progress on the next tick. So let's up this to 5 and see what happens. Okay, so that reaction is really quick. It's got 1 progress tick across the whole thing, and you don't have to change this number at all. So this one's really easy. We got our titanium ore and we got our iron ore. All right. Now, what we're going to want to do is I'm going to break this pipe. You'd probably not want to just delete this creeper acid, but I'm going to just delete it because I don't need it anymore. That's the only recipe in the reaction chamber that actually uses creeper acid. Now, let's make ourselves the laser focus for the laser rifle. It's a bit of a more in-depth recipe. We need lava and a diamond. I've got a lava reservoir right here, so I'll use some pipes and I will hook up the lava. We'll go in here and it needs 40% fill, so we'll up it to 40 and we'll put our diamond in there. You can see that the diamond is half submerged by the lava. We got our heat ray focus in, and the recipe needs to start on number 3. So we will reduce this to 3 and the progress will begin. You can see there the number moved, so we have to change the setting. Oh, there we go. There we go. So we had to change the setting on this a couple of times in order to get our laser focus. And once the recipe completes, the machine does consume some amount of liquid, but it's usually less than this percentage. So maybe it consumed 1 bucket. I don't know because I got an infinite reservoir right here. Let us now... Actually, we're going to leave that there because there are other recipes that use lava, and we're going to go through them. So you can turn quartz rods, which are crafted with 3 nether quartz in a diagonal, into blaze rods. So if we go ahead and what's the percentage? 40%. 40%. Put a quartz rod in and up this to 4. Is it 4? No. It's actually 7. Up this to 7. The recipe begins. Oh, now we got to go up to 8. Oh, and 9. See this little meter here? You got to keep matching it. And there we go. We got a blaze rod. So the amount of time these recipes take is pretty short, but you do have to... It's like a little mini game. You do have to up and reduce and increase these numbers to match what it says. And it gives you that little warning alert so that you know what's going on. Now we can take a block of redstone with 40% lava and convert it into glowstone if we want to. So we'll go ahead and do that. And it needs to be 7 to start. Go up to 8. Go back down to 7. And I believe it's random which direction those go. And now we've crafted a glowstone. I don't know if that particular recipe for glowstone is particularly worth it. You can get glowstone other ways through other mods, but this is one way to do it. Let's check another recipe. We're going to go through all of these. Those are all the ones that use lava. So now we will take our lava and dump it. And we'll go on to another recipe. So why don't we'll save this one for last. We'll go ahead and we've also got this one. This is how you refine yellow cake from Techguns into enriched uranium. And you're going to need this if you want to craft nukes or if you want to use the nuclear death ray. So we're going to put 30% water and some yellow cake. So we will reduce that to 30% and we'll get some water going on. There's some water. We put in our yellow cake and we needed 7. It was already there, so it starts. And this reaction appears to be pretty stable. Yep, we didn't need to change that at all. And now we've got some enriched uranium. Fantastic. Now the last recipe is for the anti-grav core. And for that you need a nether star and some liquid ender. Alright? So I got some liquid ender in a reservoir. We're going to take that nether star, and we're going to craft ourselves an anti-grav core. So around back here, I've got a reservoir with some liquid ender essence, and we're going to pipe that in. Be careful, this stuff's really cold. And we got 30% on that. What do we actually need? We need 40%, so we'll up that to 40%. Put our nether star in, and then what number do we need? We need 8, so we'll up this to 8. Wait, what? Nether star, liquid ender, heat ray focus, the number 8. I don't know why it's not starting. I didn't actually test this one earlier. Interesting, this one doesn't actually want to work. We've got the 4,000 in there. I suppose maybe this is incorrect. I mean, I can't imagine why it would be incorrect. We up it to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Nether star. Liquid ender. Oh, this is liquid ender essence. Okay, I actually have no idea. Whoa, that's purple. I have no idea how to run this recipe. I don't think that the currently installed mods, actually Cast the Glow, that I have on this little pack will allow me to do this. You got to make sure, if you want to craft the anti-grav core, that you have a mod in that allows you to get liquid ender. Not liquid ender essence like I have here, but actual liquid ender. It's very specific. So if you want access to everything in the Techguns mod, make sure that you have liquid ender. I think you can get that from, what, thermal expansion, and there's some other mods as well, but I only had liquid ender essence here and it didn't work. Alright, so that's very important. Make sure you have the right stuff. So that's cool. I can still grab it out of NEI for later, but I can't make it. Anyway, that's the reaction chamber. It's quite an in-depth piece of equipment, so that's all we're going to talk about today. We're not going to get to any guns or weapons because of how in-depth and complex this thing is. But just remember, this is one machine that you can't automate. Now, you don't need to run it very often. There's only a couple of recipes you're going to need to make, and most of these items, except for the blaze rods and the glowstone and the enriched uranium, the laser focus is something you're not going to have to craft very often. Just, you know, when you want to make the guns. So you may not have to use this often, but when you do, you need to stand there and actually operate the machine. But I think the reaction chamber is very, very interesting. It's a really cool machine. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at some power armor and some laser guns. It's going to be great. Nice and flashy. And we're getting close to the end here. So I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope you keep watching to the end. Thank you for watching this episode. And join our Discord if you're interested. Don't forget to like and comment the video if you enjoyed it. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.